interesting times. This week's stories. Virginia government officials work on restoring confidence in the city after the shooting tragedy. Survivors and their family share personal accounts of the mass shooting. Virginia Beach community reacts to the deadly shooting that rocked their city and the nation. Plus, Filipinos in Toronto celebrate the first Filipino Heritage Month in Canada. And the Church of Christ in Seattle, Washington delights the community with a second-to-none experience. Hello everyone, I'm Lonnie Valdicantos, bringing you stories from around the globe. And this is Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. A deadly shooting in Virginia Beach, Virginia, the most recent in the U.S., shocked the nation once again. With 13 dead, including the shooter, government officials hope to help the city recover from this tragedy. Eagle News correspondent Sarah Nachman reports.
This is Sarah Nachman reporting in Virginia Beach, Virginia. We just finished a press conference regarding the shooting that happened here Friday. Governor Northam visited local hospitals to speak with families and doctors, and he also thanked the doctors and the first responders for the great work that they did. So we were told today that the FBI has taken over the evidence, acquiring the evidence at the crime scenes. There are going to be 40 FBI agents working with Virginia Beach Police Forensics. They also said the honor guards and police are assigned to the victim families to help them through it, because they said that this is not going to be a short-term issue. This is going to take a long time, and those police officers and honor guards are there for them if they need the help. According to the ATF director Sean Benedict, the special agent in charge, they uncovered two weapons. Two weapons were used at the crime scene, a .45 caliber purchased in 2016 and 2018 legally. And they also said two other firearms were discovered at the suspect's residence. They are also both purchased legally. And we spoke with the mayor of Virginia Beach and also Congresswoman Elaine Loria, and this is what they had to say.
I think this is a tragic loss for the whole city and for the community. And what is very tragic about this is 12 people who went to work. It was late on a Friday afternoon, and they thought that they would be coming home. Their families were waiting for them. This is the first weekend, full weekend of summer, and it was close to the end of the day. But now we know that they'll never make it home, and it was very tragic. And there were people who responded in many ways to save more lives. Both the police officers who initially responded, one who took a bullet as well, but was saved by his protective vest. But I've also learned of stories of many people in the community who were in the building, who worked in the building, and barricaded themselves, co-workers, friends, behind closed doors, and got other people out of the line of fire. So I think over the next hours and days, we'll learn hundreds of these stories of heroism within our community. And people are touched by this. It's I know the father of one of the people who was killed. A friend of mine is very close friends to one of the people who was killed. And I think when you start asking around the community, I'm sure there's maybe even more connections I don't even know yet with those whose lives were lost in the building. And so, just knowing that this is going to touch so many people in the community in such a deep way, that we have to be resilient and grieve with these families, and then move forward at the appropriate time as a stronger community.
With everybody demanding stricter gun laws, is there something that you, as a representative of the city, would like to present to the community?
Well, I think it's a very broad discussion, and I think that we can't focus just on one thing, such as gun safety. I think it includes access to mental health, and I'm speculating. We don't know any details yet about the suspect's motives at all. But I think it's a broad discussion, and it's a difficult discussion that we need to have about how to prevent these types of things from happening in the future. And I've already spoken to the police chief, Chief Severa, and he's said in the past that we have to do better to keep our community safe. And I know that at the right time, it will be a time to come together for a broad discussion. And we're here as federal, but there's the federal, state, local. We've all been here. We're all small pieces of a very large puzzle for this. So I think that the real thing is focusing on when it's the right time to have that discussion and figure out what all the resources are. And they're not all policy related, but some might be that we can do to work together across all levels of government.
I'm here with the mayor of Virginia Beach, Bobby Dyer. How are you, sir?
I'll tell you what, this is a very sad moment. It's a very reflective moment. And, we grieve with the people we lost and with their families.
What are you going to do for residents to deal with this, including children in maybe in elementary school, middle school, high school, that may be scared of what happened on Friday?
We're going to be very proactive about getting the right people in to intervene and rectify any situations. We already had counselors come in. We have to restore confidence in the city. Virginia Beach, we've always been regarded as a very safe city, and this was a most unfortunate catastrophe that happened to us. But once again, like I said, this is not going to define us, because the city of Virginia Beach, the people are so giving and wonderful, and I think it's going to become evident as we go forward, the type of city we are. That's how we're going to define ourselves.
Tomorrow is Gun Violence Awareness Day.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that is going to be done for that in the city of Virginia Beach?
Yeah, I believe so. That's something that we have to really take seriously and, going forward. But I think we also have to have a situation where people, start developing that mutual respect and dignity for each other and civility. And, sometimes that's lost in society today. And I think those are some of the traits that we have to restore. But, once again, I've been approached to work with, and I am going to, with gun safety advocates, and, that was something already in the works.
The officer that was injured, according to the press release, the press conference today, the officer that was shot, he was released, treated, and he was released. He was shot, but he was wearing a bulletproof vest, and that saved his life. And they did say that he was released. The suspect co-workers were interviewed, but they are not sharing what information they gathered from the co-workers. They never said if the suspect went to work. They don't want to go into that details. The police officer in charge, the chief police officer, did say that the Virginia Beach Police recently trained with fire and EMT on an active shooter scenario. They trained them in close quarter battle with use of deadly force. This is Sarah Nachman reporting from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I am one with 25.
Survivors and their families share with Eagle News personal accounts of the Virginia Beach mass shooting, saying this time it happened too close to home. Take a look.
Virginia Beach municipal employees and families share personal accounts of Friday's mass shooting that rocked this coastal city and the nation. Most are saddened by the incident and are concerned about their loved ones who witnessed the carnage.
I was on my way back. In fact, if I had not stopped for an unscheduled meeting and a haircut, I would have been right in the middle of it. But in fact, while I was getting a haircut, my daughter called me sobbing. She's in the building next door, and they'd just come in and said, "The active shooter, everybody on the floor under the desk." And she didn't know which building. And then when they said it's building 2 up on the 3rd floor, and she knows that's where I work, she just flipped. And so she called me on the phone while I was getting my haircut and said, told me, and she's just sobbing. So I jumped out of the chair and ran down here. And right about that time, the SWAT team was pulling up, and I mean, they had the building surrounded. So, and I knew Rich Nettleton well. He was a great guy. I mean, he was a different department, but I knew him. And I think that's why everybody, including me, are just so stunned. You think somebody you're close to like that, is going to be around. You just don't think it's going to happen, but it does.
Well, my mother-in-law she had the experience of the gunman pulling a gun on her, and she fell, and he was right there, but he didn't shoot her. Fell first, trying to get away, and he was pointing a gun at her, and then when she tried to get up and picking up her stuff, he was right there.
But he didn't shoot her.
He didn't shoot her.
You said your mother-in-law knows the suspect.
She spoke to him every morning.
She spoke to him every morning. Tell us what she said about that.
She said that she don't know, that maybe that's the reason why he didn't shoot her, because she said she saw him point the gun. She was trying to go. She dropped her things. She went to pick up her things. He was standing right there in front of her, and he pointed the gun at her, but he didn't shoot.
Nothing set off the flag saying this guy is not right.
No.
Regular employee saying hello every day.
Yep. Just every day. She just said she just spoke, and she don't know why he didn't shoot her. Maybe it was because he didn't. You mean she spoke to him every day? I don't know. She don't know. We'll never know. But he could have killed her. I'm sorry.
City employee Loida Daniels described in detail the horror that took place during the shooting.
One of my coworkers yelled out, "It's an active shooter in the building." What I did was my coworkers, I told them to come into my office. We all gathered and locked the door and pulled the file cabinet, and we all laid down on the floor. We did sustain maybe 2 gunshots to the door, and then they were all over. We can hear it in the different parts of the building. It probably lasted maybe 20, 25, maybe 30, but it seemed like hours, but I'm sure it wasn't hours, but it was at least 25 to 30 minutes. Then we laid down on the floor and we waited for Virginia Beach SWAT. They were banging on the door to see if people were in the office where I was, and I opened the door and let them. He wanted to know how many was in the office. I told him, he told me to close the door. And then probably about 15 or maybe 15 minutes later, there was Virginia Beach police that came to tell us that they were here to come get us. We followed their instructions. The only part was there was a deceased person on the stairwell, and we had to kind of walk around it and just to get out the building. They told us to put our hands up and to look up and to walk. They escorted us out of the building.
Reporting from Virginia Beach, Virginia, I am Sarah Nachman, Eagle News International, and I am 1 with 25.
Thanks, Sarah. Meanwhile, community members react to the tragedy and express how they feel towards stricter gun laws or the lack thereof. Eagle News correspondent Heather Canlas reports.
June is Gun Awareness Month. Here in Virginia Beach, a day before this month started, a dozen lives were lost due to yet again another mass shooting.
According to reports, 11 Virginia Beach employees and 1 contractor were those shot and killed by a disgruntled city engineer who also died after a gunfight with police.
We asked residents of Virginia Beach how they feel about the tragedy that happened so close to home and what message they have for lawmakers with regards to implementing stricter gun laws.
It's a very tragic situation, very sad situation, not only for the community, especially for the families and co-workers. It's going to be a very difficult time for everyone to get over this type of situation, and hopefully we can all come together and help each other get through this. It was very devastating. You never think that something like this is going to happen, especially in your own home. I don't work that far from there. It's within walking distance, and I was just devastated. You don't imagine something like that happening until it does, and it's just devastating. Well, unfortunately, in this situation, the gunman obtained his weapons legally. I can't begin to explain or to describe to a lawmaker what needs to be done as far as gun laws. But maybe in this situation we could have more security, more law enforcement officers, maybe a metal detector to maybe as far as employees that come through, or unfortunately also in this situation, it was a public building, so people are just coming and going. So it's very difficult to solve that kind of situation.
Being in the backyard, especially here in Virginia, we have an open carry policy. I believe if everyone was just able to arm themselves, I believe there shouldn't be that many casualties. They should be able to protect themselves. And if a company or department says there is a no gun law or no, the company itself should be able to protect those people working for them. I don't think it's the gun laws itself. Anybody who in their right mind can purchase a gun legally, but it's just the gun safety portion. I think there should be more safety laws or education on guns. No, for the gun safety at least, the gun law, I believe everybody should be able to arm themselves, protect themselves.
It's unexpected. You don't expect anything like that to happen, but unfortunately, things of that evil nature happen, and it's very depressing that it happened here in Virginia Beach. I was concerned about how many people were impacted by it, and I'm glad that none of my family or loved ones were there during the incident. And I hope that there could be more awareness of, I guess, mental health of people, and that things like that, you just don't know that'll ever happen. I think mental health should be more of an issue when issuing out gun permits, that it should be a more stricter background check for allowing people to purchase and acquire guns. I think there should be more gun control. So yeah, I'm all for more stricter gun control. I'm not a gun owner, so I don't even know what the process of getting guns, and I hope that it'll be harder for people to get guns.
Residents of the city held a vigil to remember the lives lost and to express support to the families they left behind. Reporting from Virginia Beach, I am Heather Canlis, and I am 1 with 25.
Thanks, Heather. When we come back, Filipinos in Toronto celebrate the first Filipino Heritage Month in Canada. Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. Pinoys and those of Filipino descent celebrated the first Filipino Heritage Month in Canada. Individuals, groups, and organizations were recognized for their contribution to the welfare of the community, one of which is the Church of Christ because of its humanitarian efforts through the Aid to Humanity project. Maria Ravalo and Rex Adam with the details.
The month of June is historically important to all Filipinos all over the world because it was on June 12, 1898 when Filipinos declared independence from Spain.
It is indeed a good day to celebrate democracy, freedom, and culture for Filipino Canadians all across the country, especially today in Ontario, Canada.
Gathered here in Albert Campbell Square, City of Scarborough, part of Greater Toronto Area, Filipinos and Canadians of Filipino ancestry celebrate
the first Filipino Heritage Month in Canada. On March 15, 2019, the government officially announced today's inaugural event in celebration of Parliament's unanimous passage of Bill 185 of 2017, an act designating June of every year starting 2019 as Filipino Heritage Month throughout Canada. Salma Zahid, Member of Parliament for Scarborough Centre, expanded the bill from the local to the national level through her Motion 155 that passed the House of Commons on October 30th, 2018.
It has been long overdue to recognize the contributions of all the Canadians of Filipino heritage. They, in all walks of life, they are contributing to the great, rich cultural diversity of Canada we have all called home, whether it is doctors, nurses, caregivers, business people, entrepreneurs, teachers, politicians. Filipino community has always been there, and it is a great honor for me to sponsor Motion 155, which was passed unanimously in the House of Commons on October 30th, and it was a great day to stand up to recognize Philippine Heritage Month from coast to coast to coast.
The significant milestone recognizes the extraordinary contributions to the conservation and promotion of Filipino heritage. As Filipinos or Canadians of Filipino ancestry, they all feel proud that their community is being recognized in the high levels of government due to their distinct contributions in making Canada the great multicultural country.
Today, the Ontario province is home to approximately 340,000 Filipino Canadians, making this province the biggest Filipino community in Canada.
It's not only about being here to celebrate the culture, the heritage, the food, the music. It's about entrepreneurialism. It's about the belief that Filipinos can come to Canada, can build a better life, to do what many other immigrants have done. And this is a country that is built on immigration. My family came here from Italy after the Second World War, and that legacy carries on now. We see Filipinos coming in record numbers. The largest diaspora community right now in Canada is the Filipino community.
Part of the celebration is the recognition of individuals, groups, and organizations that contributed to the progress and diversity of the Canadian landscape and its culture. One of the recipients is the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ through its FYM Foundation Incorporation.
Today, on the celebration of the first National Filipino Heritage Month, on behalf of the Filipino Canadians, we take great pride in your significant and huge contribution to the welfare of people you have reached out to and helped. Mabuhay! Salamat po!
The group receives an exemplary recognition for its meritorious contributions to their aid to humanity projects in Canada. Over the years, their humanitarian efforts have set its sights in a global campaign against poverty. They have conducted outreach programs helping the needy in the communities, regardless of age, gender, nationality, religious, and political affiliation.
The Church of Christ, with the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, will continue to do good to those who are in need. And it's not just here in Canada, although we may have cited examples earlier, but the aid for humanity, or when we give aid to our fellow men who are in need, it is done throughout the world.
Aside from the Filipino community, the celebration has also been attended by dignitaries, government officials from all levels and agencies, diplomatic corps, sponsors, counselors, volunteers, and community leaders.
We treasure this because it's the first. It's historical, and I'm so happy you guys are here. You are part of our history.
One of the highlights of today's program is the presentation of Philippine cultural heritage, showcasing the vibrant Filipino local talents as they perform musical variety shows. The presence of famous Jollibee, the Filipino multinational fast food chain brand, takes a spot in entertaining the audience.
The activities include Filipino game show, band festivals, and a live concert performance featuring Philippine music icon Florante, complement the euphoria of this historical occasion.
I am very, very proud as a Filipino Canadian because I was born and raised in Canada. And for me, celebrations like these are very close to my heart because growing up, I was always listening and singing Tagalog songs. And because of that, natuto kong mag-Tagalog, and now I can be proud of that.
It's truly a memorable way of celebrating and honoring individuals, groups, and organizations for their efforts and success in making Filipinos visible in this country.
It is evident that the Filipino community have contributed to all aspects of Ontario's prosperity and diverse heritage for generations. For Ego News Service, reporting from Toronto, this is Maria Revelo
and Rex Adam,
your Canada Bureau.
Thanks, Maria and Rex. When we come back, the Church of Christ in Seattle, Washington delights the community with a second-to-none experience. Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition will return shortly. News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. I am Lonnie Valdecantos. Delighting the community with what was described as a second-to-none experience, the Church of Christ in Seattle opened its doors to neighbors and public officials with an entire day filled with fun, free services, and friendship. Eagle News correspondent Int'l with the details.
In an era where attacks on places of worship have become a statement of hate, the Church of Christ here in Seattle, Washington is here to give a totally different message to the community through an event dubbed as the INC Media Experience, or the INCMX.
Families, friends, co-workers, colleagues, neighbors, and even city officials join together to spend part of their Saturday enjoying the experience.
My overall impression is that it's great to see so many folks coming together, and just the welcoming, like someone escorted me and made sure I felt welcomed at entrance. And I'll say, like, the other thing that I loved about this were the chickens and the roosters. I don't know if they're connected to you or not, but they're overparked in this corner, and just felt like, oh, this feels like my community.
Free food like gourmet burgers, gourmet hot dogs, funnel cakes, desserts, family games and prizes and activities, free haircuts, live entertainment, and one-of-a-kind experience to be part of a live studio audience for various popular show tapings like Time to Draw, which is hosted by a YouTube celebrity at the box office artist, also known as James Reyes.
I feel that like the community's coming together as one, and we're having fun and just being ourselves, and it's really comfortable. And
it affects a certain group of people because they don't know, if they're safe to go to these public places. We're actually opening up our compound to the whole community to show them that we're here, that we exist. We're the Church of Christ, and we want to make our presence known, and that no matter what happens, we're here for the community.
The cherry on top of it all are the stories being shared, the contagious smiles from face to face, the moments of sincere connection. The positive and genuine energy of all ages are undeniably harmonious, leaving an imprint defining community.
I'm completely disgusted about attacks on churches today, particularly in my community, but I'm concerned about what has been happening all over the country. But what this church, the Church of Christ, has done, in light of somebody trying to burn the whole church down for no reason whatsoever, and then I was amazed to read that the response was, let's continue to reach out to the people and show love. And as a result, folks all over the community paid attention. Some of them came to the church, but even broader than that, when they found out about this event today, and that the church had raised enough resources to make all the booths free of charge for everybody. Everywhere I've gone in South Seattle, they said, this idea is second to none. Let's keep it going.
Like what we've heard and seen here today, love is truly in the air. Reporting from the INC Media Experience here in Seattle, Washington for Eagle News, I am Int'l. I'm 1 with 25.
Thank you, Int'l. That is today's Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. Join us again next week for stories from our bureaus across the nation and around the globe. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on facebook.com/EagleNewsPH and twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. Thank you for watching. I am Lonnie Valdecantos. I am 1 with 25.